interface?
It's thinking.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. It's the first Friday of October. I am so excited. My name is Lena Darnay. I'm a learning architect for Keep Indiana Learning. We design and engage with learning environments, structures for learning. I am so excited to be here. First Friday, October 1st, with our first guest. What? So many firsts in the house. We have Sherry Gick, who is the Director of Professional Learning for Five Star Technology, but also darn fine human. I have known her for years. She was a school librarian with me for many years. We spent time reading young adult books and creating the Elliott Rosewater book list together. And I just couldn't think of a better person to be our first guest on our first Friday, October 1st. It's a trifecta of first. Sherry, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Excited to be here with both of you.
Well, Sherry, we are so excited you're here because amazing fun things have happened since we did our last First Friday show. And that's what you're going to talk about here in just a little bit. So we are excited to have you. So as we always start our First Friday shows with some first fun fact about us. Last month, we learned about Lena being a bunny. So if you missed last month's First Friday, ask Lena about being a bunny because that was her first job. So this month, we're going to do something fun or interesting about your first year of teaching, something that happened during that first year. So my first year of teaching started great. And about 6 weeks into that first year of teaching, I was teaching 7th grade reading and writing, I broke my leg.
Oh,
and
no.
I taught middle school for 6 weeks from a wheelchair. 0 out of 10 would recommend teaching middle school from a wheelchair. So there is my first year of teaching experience, middle school in a wheelchair. Good times.
Holy cow, Marty, that might be one of the top worst first year teaching experiences I had. I don't know. I don't know if I've heard very many. Well, I tell you, so I transitioned to teaching from advertising and marketing, as one does. I went back, got my Master of Library of Information Science at IU, and then I added on the School Library Media certification. So I started teaching at Fishback Elementary School in Pike Township Schools, the October of 2005. And they had been without a librarian for the first few months of school. That was hard to find a placement. And so I came in and they were so excited to have a new librarian that on my very first day, again, I'd never taught in the classroom before, very first day, they bring in the kindergarten, one of the kindergarten classes to like have their first orientation into the library. And these little 5-year-olds are all like staring at me. And the teacher is like, good luck. And I was like, oh, welcome to the library. And they all went, welcome to the library. And I went, oh my God, this might work. So I was like, let's take a tour. And they said, let's take a tour. I was like, this is awesome. we walked around the library clapping, and I'd say like, there's the animal books. And they'd all go like, there's the animal books. And I was learning the library myself because it was my first day. And I just was like, we're going to parade all day. And so the kindergartners that came in all day, we paraded and clapped. And I was so tired at the end of that day, but I thought, you know what? I think I can do this. That was my very first day of teaching.
Wow. That's a story. I love that parading around the library. I love that. I just love it.
It's
Kindergartners are my favorite.
I'm just always perpetually on a parade, right?
There we go.
Sherry, what about you?
All right, so I'm going to kick it back, not to my first year of teaching, but to student teaching, and tell you the most mortifying thing that happened. And so my undergraduate was in special education. And so I had to teach 8 weeks student teaching at an elementary level and then 8 weeks at a secondary level. So at the secondary level, which I was already pretty sure was not going to be my thing, right? As far as like, I'm in a middle school, and middle school, y'all know how that goes, right? As far as like, you've got to be on your P's and Q's all the time because you never know what they're going to do. And so I'm teaching the lesson. Again, remember, I student taught way eons ago. And so I am writing on the whiteboard, writing. I go to erase it, and I'm using a permanent marker. And all of the middle school kids are doing the, as far as like, and I'm like, it's fine. I'm just trying to like get to the end of this class period because I'm going, in your head, I'm going, what in the world? How am I going to fix this? What's going to happen? I'm a poor student teacher. And so after that class leaves, the teacher's like, here's the Mr. Clean. As far as like the magic eraser, it's fine. We're going to spray it. And the breath of relief, as far as after that. But those 10 minutes were like the most awkward 10 minutes of my lifetime. I will never forget that feeling of just knowing and just committing to it, right? As far as like, once I'd done it, I was just going to keep on doing it because it was
this is so important. We're putting it in permanent marker.
That's right. And we are owning this, and I never have to write these notes again the next seven periods.
You'll be here tomorrow because we didn't learn it.
Sherry, thank you for sharing that. I'm going to cherish that story, and I might use it again in the future.
A good one.
Well, we are so excited to have you here because there has really been a momentous occasion in the lives of the Indiana Department of Education, Keep Indiana Learning, and the Learning Lab from 5 Star. Sherry, you want to share a little bit about what we've been working on?
Yeah, so hopefully the listeners have heard about this, but we've all come together for the In Learning Partnership. That play on words, you get that, right? The IN for Indiana partnership, and this is the trifecta. We're having lots of trifectas today, right? So another one to celebrate. And so we've got all kinds of awesome things that working on joint projects together. And our first one coming up is going to be on Digital Citizenship Week. And I know we have lots of really cool events that we definitely want to share with you about. So how do we want to kick that off as far as like, we want to go to the calendar, or what do we want to talk about, Lena?
Gosh, there's so many. October is just chock full of pumpkin spice lattes and awesome events happening all across the partnership. And really, like, maybe our triangle is like our sign for the trifecta, because I love how the 3 partners are connected in what we're doing, but we fill in the gaps of each other. So the Learning Lab, I love, since you guys started during the pandemic, when you really kicked off that support piece for Indiana educators, the work that you're doing with those small, powerful, just right, just when you need it, technology and instructional support, PDs, lots of great videos, lots of really powerful resources and connections. And then those live streams and PD sessions that you guys are doing are just amazing. And then we've got the department. So the Indiana Department of Ed, they, of course, are always the ones who provide us with that guidance when it comes to things that are legislated or the state and federal stuff, all those grants and, the testing and all those things we have to know. We are doing the best we can. When they come together and connect over to the lab and share some of those PD sessions there, or they come and work with our Keep Indiana Learning folks to stream out those Q&A sessions and those presentations, that's really huge. And then of course, we're connecting with our Keep Indiana Learning teacher collaborators. They're doing a lot of that practitioner development, showcasing what they're doing in the classroom. And then we've got our professional learning specialists creating content. We've got the blogs, we got a podcast, 2 podcasts. Honestly, I mean, go check out the podcast list because that's an amazing newer way that we're putting out content right in your pocket. And then the on-demands and the live workshops and sessions that are even sometimes now in person, which has been amazing to come back to these days. So, I mean, it's just like, honestly, we are filling in together to be the big hub of professional learning. And there's a great website right on the IDOE webpage. Search for NIN Learning Partnership. It's the first hit on Google. Love to be the first hit. And we're excited to have that shared calendar there. Sherry, you maintain our calendar. That's a big job.
I do maintain the calendar. And so putting those shared events and making sure that educators across Indiana are seeing what opportunities are out there, the free opportunities, right? As far as we want to make sure through this in-learning partnership that we are definitely, like you said, filling in the gaps, but the calendar is filled with all the different free opportunities that are happening. We support a couple days a week with workshops, either at 8:30 or 4 in the afternoon. IDOE joins us in the lab on Wednesdays. Every Wednesday is Wednesday PD with the IDOE. So that's there. And then again, like you said, you have such great opportunities through Keep Indiana Learning, different workshops that are happening, and just all kinds of amazing things on that calendar. So yes, you can find that also on that webpage when you visit.
Yeah, so the In-Learning Partnership webpage has that shared calendar, quick and easy to click on, register for things, and again, all free.
Yes, exactly.
So that, those Keep Indiana Learning options, you know, Sherry talked about them and Lena talked about them a bit. Ours are where the learning labs are all at the same time. Ours here at Keep Indiana Learning are kind of all over the place, different times of day, different ways of reaching you. So we have professional development for folks all day long between all of our options, which is so exciting. And that the fact that they're all there on that calendar right there on the In-Learning Partnership, just scroll to the bottom of that webpage and there's that clickable calendar, which is just fantastic.
I do like that you can get to everything at once, right? As far as like, so if I can see it's a Keep Indiana Learning event, click on it and go to the registration page. If it's one of our IDOE ones, you can register there. So keeping everything consolidated. So like you said, kind of that one-stop shop, check out the calendar, find what I need to sign up for, add it to my calendar and learn.
Well, and that's just it. As we're coming out of the pandemic, we're really able as educators to get back to that professional curiosity that we might have lost some mental capacity for during the pandemic, because it was just such a shift for us. And we really struggled with trying to find our cognitive load with having to learn and feel like a first year teacher again. Yeah. And then now as we're getting better at that and our skill set is really stabilizing with the flux still of virtual, in-person, hybrid, whatever it looks like. As we're coming back to that professional curiosity and adding new skills to our toolbox, that's where we want to be. All three of us want to be here to help support and serve the educators in their quest to transform teaching and learning across the state of Indiana.
I think that's such a good point, right? As far as that the capacity, we definitely felt it diminish, right? As far as like I know each of you here in the chat, we all felt that during the pandemic. And I think we are slowly coming out of it. I don't know if we're all there yet, and that's okay, right? As far as like, that's why we're trying to support and offer all different types of opportunities. I love what you said earlier, Lena. You're like in your pocket, right? As far as PD in your pocket, that podcast that you have and being able to access. So different ways, bite-sized learning. Maybe you are ready for that hour. Maybe it's just the 30 minutes, but we're trying to support wherever you are right now and what your capacity is for that.
So one of the big things coming up for the partnership, kind of our big coming out party, our big launch collaborative event is Digital Citizenship Week, October 17 through 22. And we are planning kind of a big global blast on events and sharing resources on social media. You'll want to make sure that you're following hashtag #InLearningPartner and hashtag DigCit, because those are the ones we're going to use to really share out. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Keep Indiana Learning's TikTok channel is going to blow up. It's going to be amazing.
Media.
All over.
All
That's
over.
right. Everywhere. I heard there's up to 10, right, Marty? We were having that conversation before
Yes,
we went live. I
yes.
mean, apparently we should have
Apparently
10
there's
places.
Yes, there's more social media than we knew existed. So absolutely,
We'll keep
there's
researching.
Yeah,
all
that's right.
kinds of options. Just this morning, I was reading one of the blogs that we're going to publish during Digital Citizenship Week, and oh my goodness, there's good stuff coming. I'm so excited. And so, Lena, do you want to talk some more about what's going to happen at the summit on that Thursday, which is a super exciting afternoon? Mark your calendars now, October 21st on that Thursday afternoon.
Just block off all of Thursday, because I tell you what, Sherry and I were just talking about this as we were
Thursday's our
planning it.
day.
Thursday is the culmination of all the good stuff, and that's a fun day. So just go ahead and like put the big star. Maybe it's a pumpkin spice latte in the morning, and then maybe some pumpkin bread for lunch, and then you finish it up with a big bowl of chili at the end of the day. And we'll be there along the whole day long. It's going to launch at 6 a.m. Our podcast with 2 Google certified innovators, Kat and Kayla. They're amazing. They both work with students who are in the juvenile justice system, right? So they have been working with these kids, and a lot of them have gotten in trouble for digital punishment, right? Like they have that piece of the way that students and kids and teenagers these days are using digital means as their social outlet and how they're working on. Some of these kids have really placed themselves in trouble with digital devices and in digital platforms, those virtual platforms. So they've been working a lot with these kids in the juvenile justice system to talk about restorative justice practices with digital citizenship, really changing the narrative from all punitive and don't do this and don't do that to really like, let's teach you how to do it right so that you don't feel like you didn't have the skills to know better. You just got punished, and now you have no information on how to grow in your practice. So the way they're shifting the narrative is perfect for classrooms. It's perfect for schools, and it really will help all learners, including me. I learned a couple of big things. I mean, they were talking about adults having to model having digital chill, like not always being on our devices as well. And I was like, sold. I need more digital chill because I have right now. I can't wait for that podcast. And then I think we pop right into the lab at 8.
Yeah, 8:30. We're running. So we're going to be talking about Be Internet Awesome. That's going to be featured a couple times during the week as far as like Be Internet Awesome. So we'll have a quick 30 minutes on that. And then later on, we'll be heading into your summit at 1, our Fall into DigCit Summit. So talk a little bit about that.
Oh my gosh, this is going to be so fun. So it'll be on this Keep Indiana Learning YouTube channel. We'll go live just like we are today. And we're going to do little snack size 20-minute sessions. It's going to be like a handful of candy corn and peanuts, right? It's got the energy and the sustainable protein to keep you going, right? So these sessions are perfect. So we'll have some digital learning coaches from the Keep Indiana Learning group. Then we also have a really cool guest speaker from Common Sense Education. She's going to talk for one of our 20-minute sessions, and someone from Capstone Publishing. They're going to share some free resources that you can access through our Keep Indiana Learning Friends page on their logo. You'll click on it, get free access to some really cool PebbleGo articles that are free during that time. And they're talking about publishing and accessing online content and keeping yourself safe while you're doing that. Then we end the day right at 3:30 to 4 with a keynote by Kat Crawford, who's one of our podcast guests, and she's going to share really some actionable items on how to build a responsible use plan in kid-friendly language for digital citizenship instead of those big, long 12-page AUPs that we have like our kindergartners sign, and they wouldn't be able to understand any of it. Heck, I can't understand most of that. So that's going to be super handy. And then I think, don't we have an evening event that's going on?
I don't know. Not that I know of. Do we?
That one's in the works still. I think we do have one planned in the works. It'll be on Twitter. Don't miss it. We're going to be doing some shared Twitter chatting that evening.
Nice.
We'll share those hashtags so that you can follow along with all of that. But we are just so excited to bring the conversation to Digital Citizenship Week as a collective big voice from all shared partners in the InLearning partnership here in Indiana.
And what I love about the angle we're taking is not about being punitive. Let's not just punish kids for doing wrong, which honestly, many of us are doing wrong also. Let's reframe it, talk about how to do it right, and then let's do it right together. I think that's really, really powerful in the way that we're approaching this. Not even maybe digital responsibility is a better word even than digital citizenship. Yes. So I'm so excited for what's going to come out of this week and how teachers then can take it into their classrooms, how parents can take it into their living rooms. This is good stuff that we can all learn from, regardless of how we are interacting with kids, because we're all interacting with the technology. Let's be better at how we do that.
I love that shift to responsibility, just like you said. And also, as we talk about following that DigCit hashtag, it's not just us using it, right? It's not just the state of Indiana. This is going to be happening. And so, although we need to be aware of it all year long, and so these practical tips that everybody's going to be sharing, like, it's not just of the week, right? As far as like we are celebrating across the nation, Indiana, we're joining the Right Week this year. That's a good one, right? We've had our own week. And so now following that hashtag, it happens all the time, but especially that week, there'll be tips and tricks thrown in from all kinds of practitioners across the globe, really.
I think it's really an exciting time too, as we transition back into in-person classes over the next school year, as we're redefining what that looks like. That technology is not going to go away. Even our offline practices are typically technology adjacent, right? Like, even though we may be handwriting or drawing, we might be using technology for inspiration or research, or there's always some connection to sharing that content. So being smart when we come to technology so that it flows as a natural extension of the classroom, and that we have the mindset that I'm always a learner and I am not out here kind of in the wild west of the internet all by myself, that I have guides and mentors and that I do know the right thing. I think that's just really perfect for where we're going with education and how we're redefining what it looks like to be a savvy consumer of content in 2021 and beyond.
Because like you said, it's life, right? As far as like, it's not just in the classroom, as far as being smart and responsible online extends, because we know that time is not just during the school day, it's after school hours. And so we have to make sure that we're teaching them how to do that. I love what someone mentioned earlier, as far as like the modeling, like how are we modeling that? And I think that's really important, bringing in all those real world examples. It's not just a classroom skill that we're learning.
No, this is a skill that goes so far beyond the classroom. It may be the skill, I don't want to say it's the most important skill, but man, it's got to rank up there with
top 3 for sure.
Yeah, it just has to, because it's not going to go away. I would rank it as important as learning how to listen well. I need to learn how to be a good digital user, a good tech user. Yeah. Fantastic. Lena, we're wrapping up. We have about 7 minutes left. So what else do we want to share in our first Friday?
Well, beyond just what's going on for Digital Citizenship Week from the partnership, Sherry, do you want to share like 1 or 2 things coming up from the lab that people should put on their calendar?
Absolutely. I really do want you to go to that shared calendar, because everything is there as far as like coming up next week. So our workshop days, again, are Tuesdays and Thursdays. So just count on that, and Wednesdays with the IDOE. So it looks like coming up next week. Let's go there. So we've got some great things going on, some tool spotlights with Jamboard. Love that for interactivity as far as that goes. And next week with the IDOE, we're going to be digging deep with instructional design and digital pedagogy. 2 tool spotlights next week. We're highlighting one of my favorites, Wakelet. We just did a live stream last night and like celebrated our love of Wakelet. So check that out on our YouTube as well. That's on repeat. So and we've got a tour. So if you are brand new, again, the Indiana Learning Lab is free for everybody in the state of Indiana, not just educators. It's free for parents. And so if you haven't accessed that yet and gone to inlearninglab.com, we've got a tour on the 12th. So just to kind of give you as far as like behind the scenes, this is how it works. Because remember, everything that you access in the lab, you're actually earning your points for. So that's really awesome for educators, that one-stop shop when you're doing that. We've got our PGP points that you're accruing and having that. So we'd love for you to stop by for that lab tour.
That's awesome. Marty, what do we have coming up from Keep Indiana Learning you want to shout out?
Yeah, I think I'm going to focus just on next week as well. Next week has some really, the month of October has lots of good things, but next week has some, I think, really neat opportunities. The first one, we have things on I believe the 4th, 5th, and 6th. So on the 4th, Dr. Murph's class starts. It's a free 5-week class on culturally responsive pedagogy. Fantastic. You can still sign up. Fantastic class to be a part of.
That's an online class, right? So you would use Canvas for that one?
Yes, online class. And so talk about being a digital responsible person, here's your first opportunity. And it's neat, I think, for teachers to take online classes through Canvas, because if they're a Canvas user as a teacher, it is fantastic to get to see Canvas from the student side.
Yeah,
I did my grad school program online. And so I was a Canvas teacher in the morning. I was a Canvas student in the evenings, and it's good info to have to know what it looks like from the other side. So yes, that class is online, 5 weeks free, culturally responsive pedagogy. You can sign up at keepindianalearning.org, and that one starts on the 4th, which is Monday. Crazy Monday, October 4th. Yes, mind-boggling. Then on the 5th, we have Keep Indiana Chatting, which is a group of digital learning coaches coming together. That's an evening event. We'll be here live on YouTube as well. And that will be a great event for teachers to come together and support each other. What are you doing now that is helping you survive? What have you learned through this, crazy, I say 18 months, maybe longer than that now, that you can share with others. And so it's really going to be an organic time of sharing, facilitated by our coaches on the 5th. And then on the 6th, couple of options, but the one I want to highlight in particular is for schools that want to become STEM certified. We are hosting a Q&A with the Department of Ed. So if you have questions on working through that STEM certification process, you can join that Q&A, and the department is they collect your questions in advance when you sign up, and then they're going to build their presentation off of the participants' questions. So sign up in advance and get your questions asked so those can be answered. And then Amanda McCammon, our STEM specialist here at Keep Indiana Learning, is going to host some open office hours after that, so that as you're working through the application, you can go to her live office hours and get your questions answered as you're filling out the application. So super great events going on just next week. That doesn't talk about, kind of like Sherry, the rest of the month. That's next week. So, there's good stuff all the time around here, which is so exciting.
I love it. So keepindianalearning.org, inlearninglab.com. Got it. Bookmark those sites, visit often, and Google In-Learning Partnership. Click on that webpage for the Department of Ed's landing site for the partnership. That shared calendar is like gold right there. Yeah. Sherry, thank you so much for joining us. First guest, first Friday, first of the month.
Thank you.
I want to put in Sharpie on my whiteboard. You guys, I love it.
Make sure it's something you really want to remember. Just throw that out there, right?
Yeah.
Maybe an inspirational quote.
Thanks, Sherry. Thanks, Marty. Good to have you. Thanks, everybody, for watching. See you next month.
Thanks. Thank you. See you next month.